Welcome to the FeelWell podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Lauren DeSico. Today, we're diving into the power of mindset and reinvention with the incredible Darcel Being. As a mentor, author, and creator of the Reinvent Her process, Darcel helps women break through self-limiting beliefs and step into their most confident, abundant selves. We'll explore how shifting your mindset can transform your life, the connection between confidence and self-love, and practical steps to rewrite your own story. So get ready for this inspirational conversation. Welcome. So excited to have you here.
Thank you, Dr. Laura. I'm very honored to be here.
So can you tell me your story? How did you get to where you're at today?
Absolutely. This is always an interesting question because there's so many spaces and places and roads that we take to become who we are. But in a nutshell, so I had kids, got married young, was in the church doing the worship leading thing, loved it. And also my life looked great from the outside, married 10 plus years, homeschooling, mom, all the things. And also inside, I had a lot that was going on mentally. So I have a background in psychology and I've always loved positive thinking, but struggled with perfectionism, imposter syndrome, self-doubt, you name it, I struggled with it. And I got to the lowest point in my life when I was pregnant with my third. And I made a very drastic decision that if I couldn't change my life in 30 days, I was done. I was like, I'm writing my children goodbye notes. I literally wrote them, created this email for them. And I decided that if I can't change my life, I don't want to live this life. And in 30 days, through meditation, inner work, journaling, visualization, a lot of reading, movement, mindfulness, I was able to not only change who I was in 30 days, but write my first children's book. It was featured in Essence Magazine's Naturally Curly blog. I wrote another book. It was in the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute. Just a lot of amazing things in 30 days. So that just sparked this fire in me that if we can change our mind, we can change our lives. And I want other people to know, especially women, especially moms, that this is possible for them too. So that's the genesis.
I mean, that's very, very powerful. And sometimes it takes the lowest point to be able to take that and realize I actually appreciate when I get to points where I'm like, I don't like this anymore.
Right.
This almost like hitting rock bottom, because that's what shifts me into the other side, that inspiration to really explore like what would be the right thing for me and what would be the alignment for me.
Right.
So what is the Reinvent Her process?
So basically, the Reinvent Her process is learning to be well from the inside out. And on a very practical level, it involving the thoughts, the feelings, and action, beliefs, behavior, and being. And it is a process where I support women in, number one, understanding what is it that you actually want, not what is it that you think you should want because of your religion, because of your culture, because of the family you come from, but truly, what is it that you're desiring? And then from there, helping them to see, well, what is it that is in your way? What is the mindset, the limiting beliefs that you believe are keeping you from being who you want to be? And then from there, moving into who do you need to be in order to have the life you truly deserve and desire? And it's a simple process simply because a lot of women are just busy. They have husbands, they have families, they have children, and it's a very basic process where you can, again, find wellness from the inside out as opposed to looking for something external to bring you the joy that you're really desiring.
Well, you made such a dramatic shift in 30 days, but if you look at it from a neuroscience standpoint of how you start to rewire and make new synapses, and we're very neuroplastic, but it requires being super focused on that goal, but repetition,
absolutely,
and practice, and feeling that and embodying it in your actual system, because what we are actually fighting against a lot of times is what our nervous system has wired through our histories.
Absolutely.
So some of what stops us is how our bodies start sending signals of threat response to our brains, and then we start telling ourselves, oh, I can't do this anymore.
Right.
So you can simply, by practicing and repetitively practicing, start to rewire those automated reflexive responses and override those and integrate new beliefs and practices like what you're saying.
Right.
What do you find is one of the biggest blocks mindset blocks with people that you work with?
It is 100% the fear of being seen. Speaking to exactly what you just said, so many little girls are taught that there is danger in being seen. We are taught there is danger in being too pretty. There is danger in being too smart, in being too fast, in being fill in the blank with any amazing adjective. And what happens is the nervous system does develop this story, this fear that if you are seen, you are actually in danger. So women that I meet, that I work with, myself included, years ago, there was a story that if you are seen, if you are too much, you're going to be ostracized, you're going to be judged, you're going to be rejected, abandoned. And then the brain interprets that as, well, if you're abandoned and you don't have community, you're going to die. And what I found is that that fear of being seen stops so many amazing women from writing the book, from launching the podcast, from simply doing the thing, because they have a story of, well, nobody's going to want to come to this. Nobody cares. And it's all a pattern. It's all a story. And the minute women shift from that story, so many doors open because you deserve to be seen. You do have a story to tell. People are going to listen. It's just a matter of doing it.
Yeah. I mean, from my own personal standpoint of experiencing that, I would actually make myself physically small, like shrink myself down
Right.
so that thinking, oh, no one's going to see this 6-foot blonde girl if she just slumps down a little.
Tall girl problems.
But that it hardwired like that from young, very, very young.
Right.
And anytime I slightly expose myself and be seen or speak up or even stand up a little bit taller, I did have that repercussion from an external source.
Absolutely.
And it was always from someone that meant a lot to me.
Right.
So I always shrunk back down.
Yeah.
So how do you help women reintegrate safety as they start to grow a little bit? They're going to be met with the external cues that remind them why they didn't want to be seen.
Right.
That's not going to change.
Right.
Because we have no control over external. But the internal, what's like one major way that you help women feel safe in those incremental growth, like starting to be seen more and more?
Right. I love that question. One of the ways is really getting the body on board, understanding that we have to build a body that can hold the blessing. We've got to build the body. Otherwise, your nervous system is going to sabotage you. We will always choose a familiar hell over an unfamiliar heaven every single time. And a very practical step, it seems so simple, is simply inviting more gratitude into our being, and not just like, thank you, universe, but like literally feeling it. So getting the somatics involved. And the number one recommendation I always give is to celebrate yourself more, because celebrating yourself is something little girls are not taught. We are taught.
What's wrong? We're taught
Say it again. We're taught, oh, you're bragging. Oh, you need to be more humble, especially if you come, I love God, that's great. And also coming from the religious background, you are very much taught, do not brag, do not boast. And in actuality, we say the word humble and humility. What we actually mean is hide. You need to be more humble, Dr. Laura. No, what you're really being told is you need to hide. You need to shrink. So when we begin to celebrate ourselves, we send all of these feel-good chemicals to the brain, the dopamine, the endorphin, the serotonin, the oxytocin, and we tell our brain, oh, I am safe. Celebrating yourself is such a huge practice. And very simply put, I do 5 celebrations at the end of the day. I might not have gotten this done. Maybe I didn't organize that, clean that. Okay, well, what are 5 things that I did do? And the more I do that, I get the biofeedback, the more I want to do it, and so on and so forth. So celebrating yourself is an absolute game changer.
Right. So those, talking about those chemicals that get released, that's what starts to hardwire patterns.
Absolutely.
Consistent habits and patterns. And that's what hardwires bad patterns for people as well. Right. Or the release of those chemicals, because we like the feel of that and whatever. But if you can do it in a positive way, then, and that's exactly how I practice in my practices. I do it from a nervous system centered approach. So when people are dealing with chronic illness or pain or whatever, they're in a state of survival. So, and it comes the same way behaviorally and socially. Those are the same parts of the nervous system that we're coming from, those survival states. So the first way to start the healing process from a physical standpoint is also to integrate safety.
Absolutely.
And so I've learned, even just in my as I've grown professionally and I've had to change and shift those thought patterns, I use the same tools. I send signals of safety to my body somatically, or different practices where I'm stimulating my vagus nerve, for example, is one way to signal safety in your body.
Right.
Then I try to do the practice that was scaring me.
Right.
You know, like if it's public speaking, I make myself feel really safe first.
Yes.
And then I go out there and I'm engaged. I'm excited instead of just going out there and like blank stare, just words spewing out of my mouth. But like really enjoying it, because that's what I want to do.
Right.
And I don't want to be scared of it. And I want to be seen. So,
and you're magnetic.
So I think that's amazing that you are actually teaching people to feel and embody that in their, because the body is what sends the brain the story.
Absolutely. That's the word, embodiment, 1000%.
So what do you find with how self-love plays a role in confidence and success?
Absolutely. Self-love is the foundation. Self-love is the foundation to absolutely everything. And right now we are in a time where self-love is trending and it's very chic and it's on all the things. But in actuality, self-love simply means learning to love all of the self. So the parts of you that you shrink, learning to love those. The I don't like my voice, I don't like my ear, my eye, my eyebrow, my earlobe. Learning to love all of those pieces and parts. And with confidence simply means trust in oneself. You can't trust yourself if you are constantly putting yourself down. You can't trust yourself if you're constantly negating your word to yourself. So self-love goes hand in hand with confidence, because the more I love myself, it's the more I'll trust myself. We trust people who love us. So if I love myself more, I trust myself more. The more I trust myself, the more I'm willing to do the public speaking and to go out there and have more competency. The more competent I am, it's the more confident I am. And then it's the biofeedback loop. And round we go. Self-love is truly the foundation to being more confident. You've got to love yourself in order to trust yourself.
Definitely. And I think self-love, there's a lot of, like you said, the trending side, a lot of just focusing on the good stuff, the positive stuff.
Right.
And I like to try to make sure I explore the like shadow side stuff.
Absolutely.
And the ugly stuff. And, you know, even if you don't feel good inside, approaching it with care and concern instead of negative, like, ugh, why do you have to feel that way? Just be positive.
You should know better. You've been in the work for so long.
Pain. I just want to feel better. No, I've learned to look at it, and I teach my clients this too. Like, what is it that you're telling me right now with this like unpleasant sensation, or why don't you like that? Or just having curiosity and exploring it too. And a lot of those unpleasant sensations are really great to sit in, because you can use that as a compass of like, okay, what is the direction I should be going in here?
Absolutely.
So what is a really good, you said that in the evening you have your celebrations. How do you start your day? What's a really good way for people to start their day that are trying to go on this path?
I use, again, I have 3 kids, I homeschool, I do a lot. So I have a very practical formula, and I give it to my clients as well. And it's 20-20-20. So when I start my day, it's 20 minutes of mindfulness. And that can be you sitting journaling, that can be meditating. For the Christian girlies, that can be praying, devotion, whatever brings you back to self and back to center. Then 20 minutes of movement. That can be dance, that can be a walk, that can be Pilates, yoga, whatever your flavor is. And then lastly, 20 minutes of something that's going to help you gain mastery. So 20 minutes of the FeelWell podcast, 20 minutes of YouTube, something that's going to bring you into mastery, because that is crucial. So keeping it simple, 20-20-20, and you will notice the difference within a week. Makes such a massive difference.
And how do people work with you? Like, what's your process? Do you work over the phone? Are you Zoom?
I do a lot of Zoom, and I do workshops. So I go and I do a lot with especially women, female leadership and embodiment, things like that. Primarily Zoom with coaching programs, and I'm all over Instagram, always on there doing something.
And who are your typical clients?
My typical clients are
females,
high achieving women. It's women who I say have the too much wound. So you were told you're too pretty, you're too smart, you take up too much space. And it's women who, again, are high achieving, high performing, and they know they're not typically like, oh, I'm so sad in my life. They're doing great. They're successful. However, they recognize that they haven't reached their full potential because of perfectionism, imposter syndrome, procrastination. All of that is a fancy way of saying I'm afraid to be seen. So it's women who have a lot going on, big dreamers, and also they're still afraid to be seen as their full selves. It's my ideal client, typical client.
Yeah. I mean, I'm totally that type A, high achieving, whatever. But I would say that for most of my career and adult life leading up to this, I was super high achieving, but for other people.
Absolutely. That's
as
huge.
The employee or as the really good student or it was never for me. So I always felt empty inside.
Absolutely.
So I see all the time where the women are like, they're just killing it.
Sure.
But it's not for their thing.
Killing them. Yeah. Internally.
Yeah. And they're just,
absolutely.
The energy is just expelling everywhere. Definitely. So what is the best way to find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Darcel Being. You can find me www.darcelbeing.com and really Instagram. I'm always sharing and connecting with women in the DMs, and Instagram is the best. It's the best route.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long is your process typically? Does it depend on the person, or you have like a pretty regimented?
Standard is 90 days. And again, according to the neuroscience, right, you can reprogram your brain and all the things pretty quickly. However, I find that with type A personalities, we are used to go, 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 rush, 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 masculine energy, hurry up and get there. So 90 days simply to help you reintegrate back into your everyday life and make sure that it's a good fit in everything that you're doing. So 90 days, but upwards of 6 months or even a year's mentorship as well.
How did you learn this? What's your...
So the secret,
because you're speaking my exact language, so I know how I learned it. So I want to know. And your background is psychology, you said, right?
Right. So I did psychology, undergrad psychology, and then for me, I did halfway through my master's. And for me, I'm also a free spirit, so I was just like, I love it. I recommend it. However, I'm just like, for me, it was just too boxed in. So I did like my master certified through ICF accredited institutes, things like that. And truly, Dr. Laura, the reason that I am so passionate is because I was my first client. I am not teaching theory. I am not giving you something I found on the internet that I think will hopefully work. No, babe, this is what I've done to become the woman I am today. And I have hundreds of testimonials and video testimonials of women who've used my process and it works. And very simply put, I have a lot of clients who are in therapy and it works beautifully in conjunction with the coaching that I do. I would never say don't go to therapy. No, do both. You can have it all. Why not? Right. So I was my first client. I know it works. The process, it's backed by science. And my mantra is always just don't believe me, prove me. I'm going to give it to you. If you do the work, it works. Very simply.
Right. I mean, and I think like how quickly do you typically see a shift in people when you start working with them?
Dr. Laura, I am telling you, because of the neuroplasticity, 1 week. And people like on my Instagram, I have like a reel of client wins, and it's always the family that notices first.
Yes.
Whether it's the positive or negative.
I don't know. My husband's like, I don't know what you're doing with her, but I like it.
Or I don't know what you're doing there. I don't like it.
I don't like it. Why? Who are you becoming?
Yeah, I don't like this. You're letting me walk all over you. So truly within a week, there will be a difference. And I know that Dr. Joe Dispenza has done a lot of like the brain scanning before and after. And in as little as 4 days, people can say, I just feel better. And to me, that is what it's all about, because that's an indication that something has shifted. Something is moving now. Where you were stagnant, you now have movement. So quickly.
If you look at the states of the nervous system, you can shift your nervous system state within a minute.
Yeah, absolutely.
By stimulating safety into your body, you shift from fight or flight out of that into that really centered, calm, like present state. Yes. You can access that within a minute if you have the right tools.
Definitely.
And how to stimulate your system the right way. How long it holds for is is a little different story, and how you keep practicing and rewiring. But that's why like and I think that's where people they even get blocked with starting this process, because they're like, oh God, like how much work am I going to have to do, and how much longer time? Especially there's so much out there that people have already done when they want something different. People have done so many different programs and worked with so many different professionals. So to understand that the biology and physiology of the nervous system, that you can tap into it and reintegrate it that rapidly with consistent basic work is something to really get excited about. So if someone is thinking about this, or they're like really stuck and they want to feel different, this is so empowering to rapidly make that change.
Doesn't take this is what I said.
The length of time is for it to hold and stay that way and become a new permanent wired synapses there.
Your default.
Your new default that you don't even remember how you used to be, basically.
Exactly.
And your body doesn't have those old responses. That's what the time frame is. But to feel better and different is very rapid.
Very. Like you said, 60 seconds. And I'm also on Insight Timer as a mindfulness teacher. And I've had people message me and say, oh my goodness, I did your meditation and I started yawning. And I'm like, oh, that's good. The nervous system.
Yeah, you just went into that regulated, centered nervous system state. Yeah, I have people that walk into the office and they're almost like in a total shutdown, can't even have eye contact with you. And they're like laughing and giggling within, 10 minutes into the session. And it's just that shift in the nervous system.
It's huge. So you have so much, we have so much power. It's not even funny. It's unbelievable. We have so much power right in the palm of our hands. You don't need anything else external. All of that is great. However, you are the source. It begins and ends with you. It's powerful.
Yeah. And to have that much control over, instead of having reactions to things, or, I don't know if you've ever experienced when something happens in your life that kind of triggers you and you almost get like outer body experiences and you can't even think or speak.
Sure.
But having these tools pulls you right out of that. So you are immediately back into the present state, and you handle situations so differently, even as like a mother, a partner.
Absolutely. With the motherhood piece, like motherhood is
are
wonderful,
people
but
coming
it's no
to you
joke.
and saying, not only am I different professionally, but I'm parenting
as a mother. I get
very
that.
differently.
Those are truly some of my proudest moments. And that's why I said, that's how I know the work that I do, it works, simply because hearing a mother say, I'm just a better mom. My daughter came up to me and hugged me and said, I don't know what you're doing, but I just feel better with you. I feel safer with you. That in and of itself is enough. Like, that is the biggest reward to me, because now she's going to have her nervous system regulated, and then for her daughter, and so on and so forth. It's huge.
And the kids only go by feel from you. So
absolutely.
And they'll behave differently. You won't even have to even correct them as parents anymore, because you're safe and regulated. So then the child is regulated and they behave completely differently.
Very different. Yeah. Very different. I love that. And I constantly remind clients and myself, there's no shame, there's no guilt, there's no judgment, all of this, because as we're talking, someone can be listening and saying, oh, I'm just so far, and I just yelled this morning. And at the end of the day, it's all just information. So if something, well, that doesn't feel good, like you said, check in with yourself. Well, what is the invitation? There's no shame, guilt, or judgment. This is all just information to feel better, mind, body, soul.
So your approach is not just to help empower women, but it will be so life-changing in their entire scope of
every area,
every category of their life,
every area,
because of how they are going to show up in this, in how they're holding their system and themselves. And it's going to reflect back to them in all aspects.
Every year I say it's marriage, money, motherhood.
Your process is going to be life-changing for people.
It is.
I've experienced it myself with like very similar stuff. So I think, I can attest to how life-changing it is. So that's amazing that you're doing that with people.
Thank you.
So what's one last takeaway that you want for people to understand?
I want to share that Starting where you are is the best place to start, because that is the number one thing I hear. I'm too far gone. I'm too old. I'll wait till the kids are older. Well, next year. And starting right where you are is the best place to start. My father used to always say the next best thing to being there is being on your way there. If you just start now, you'll be closer than if you wait to start when little Timmy is 12 years old or 13. Starting now. If you feel it, go for it. Start now.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Laura.
Thank you. This is such an inspirational conversation. So I appreciate you coming and sharing that with us
Thank you.
today.
I appreciate the opportunity.